Hey there, it's Kat and this is Brews and Reviews. So today I'm going to be giving you guys my June 2020 wrap up and well, it's rather disappointing if you compare it to last month because I was in a reading slump and I'm still in a reading slump. Honestly, I just have to say this to you guys now. I may be a little bit inconsistent in the next few weeks in my posting, and that's simply because I am struggling creatively at the moment. I'm finding it quite hard to actually sit down and do anything, whether that be filming, editing, just anything really. I'm not even reading very much. So I'm really sorry if my posting is a little bit inconsistent over the next couple of weeks. I promise I am actively trying to get back to BookTube, but I'm kind of just very blah at the moment, and I'll get out of it. But it might take me a few weeks, so please bear with me. So let's stop me rambling and let's get into this wrap up. So the first 3 books that I read in June were from the same series, so I'm going to talk about them all at once, even though actually for once I did read them in order. I went first book, second book, third book, because I didn't want to get out of the world and I didn't want to stop reading about these characters. And the series that I'm talking about is The Foxhole Caught by Nora Sakavic. So yeah, this is the first book, this is the second book. I don't own the third book physically, but I listened to it on audiobook and I loved it. Honestly, I read the first book a while back and I reread it and I was like, I want to reread it so that I can continue on with the series, and I'm so glad I did because I fell in love with the little angsty boys. Like, everybody's so angry and like, I don't know, I just really loved it. And I really liked how it ended. I feel like it was a really satisfactory end. So yeah, I haven't actually spoken about what this is about. It's about angry, angsty boys who play sport, and there's like mafia leanings as well. I don't really want to say anything else about it because you should really just look that up if that even sounded a little bit interesting to you, because yeah, it was good. But there are trigger warnings for pretty much everything in this, so maybe look those up too. And just for my star ratings, I gave this book 4 stars, I gave this book 4 stars, and I gave the last book 5 stars because I just really liked how it ended. Next up I read Armageddon House by Michael Griffin. This is a short horror novella, and honestly, it was weird. I didn't really like it. It was about 4 people who were in a bunker and they sort of just went about their day and they were all a little bit crazy and nobody really knew what was going on. And then there were some weird elements where they like discarded things that they didn't need anymore, like eyelashes and like, oh wait, it was eyelids. It was weirder than eyelashes. But like, yeah, I don't really remember because that element was really interesting, but it wasn't really the core of the whole thing. There was way more going on and didn't really get it. So maybe that's on me. Maybe that book is way more interesting than I thought it was, but I just sat there and was like, what? So I feel like there could have been a lot more of the elements I did like, which was that creepy horror thing with like the disposing of parts of bodies and things like that. And maybe less of the confusion. I could always do with less confusion. I ended up giving that one 3 out of 5 stars because it was enjoyable, but I just didn't get it all. Then I decided to pick up A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole. I kind of just picked this one up on a whim. I've heard quite good things about Alyssa Cole, and I was like, you know, I just want to read something good. It was quite a cute little romance story. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars because it was a little bit predictable and you kind of knew what was going to happen in the story. But it was kind of cute as well. I think for me the biggest problem with it is that, like, I'm never really a fan of that whole relationship dynamic where one person's lying about who they are and they build this relationship with the other person, and that whole time the other person thinks that they're in a relationship with somebody else and they're not. And like, because I just feel like that's never going to end well. If that happened to me, I'd be like, fuck off. But maybe that's just me. It kind of kills the romance for me a little bit because I find it very hard to forgive people for doing things like that. So I find it a little bit unbelievable. Plus the end of this book, it wouldn't really make that much sense. But it was still good. I enjoyed it. I really liked the writing. I thought that the 2 main characters were cute together. I actually liked all of the characters. The cat's here! Coops! Coops! Hi! Hi! Definitely just got distracted by the cat. Don't remember what I was saying. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. Then I picked up Carnival of Secrets by Melissa Marr. I was really excited for this book because I really enjoyed the Wicked Lovely series by Melissa Marr, and honestly, I was a bit disappointed. I found certain elements of this book really intriguing. I liked the world of the carnival, and I liked the games that were being done, but there were also some really dodgy things. Some really, really dodgy things. Like, a character gets married in this and she doesn't even know about it, but like the guy that fancies her is like, I want to get married. So he asks her demon dad, and then the demon dad's like, okay, sign this contract and then have sex with this woman as a proxy. Yeah. It was weird. There's a lot about debt. There's a lot about, like, paying debts with, like, sexual favors and stuff that nobody really seems to be particularly happy about. The witches were a bit weird, but there was interesting things about it, but I just feel like the execution wasn't quite there for me. And I feel like this one was quite a miss. I keep thinking about this book afterwards, and I'm not really sure why. I don't know. It's almost like I wanted more in the world to see if it got better, but I don't think I don't know if there was more. I don't know, but the main girl character, the daughter of the witch, Mallory, I think her name was, I just did not like her. She was a waste of space, really. There was just nothing good about her, and I get it from the perspective of the story, like, it made sense that she was kind of rubbish because of what was happening to her, but still, I was like, I just don't want to read about you. So yeah, there were interesting things, there were not so interesting things. I think it landed at about a 3 out of 5 stars for me, but like a low 3 out of 5 stars, and I'm disappointed in that. I feel like you can start to see how I've gotten myself into a reading slump, because there's like, 3 stars, random, didn't really like it that much, it was okay, and all that sort of thing. I feel like that's where I am right now. Because look, another 3-star read for me. I read Corrupt Kingdom by Ava Harrison. So this book was a dark romance that I picked completely at random, and turned out to be a Hades Persephone retelling, which, let me just say, is super lucky because I love everything that is Hades Persephone. So I feel like I really wouldn't have enjoyed this book as much if it wasn't a Hades Persephone retelling, but it was, and it was kind of cute, and I kind of liked the characters, which is weird because I really wasn't expecting to. And like, also the premise was a bit dodgy. There was a lot of like human trafficking sort of thing that was going on in there, and he was trying to stop her from being human trafficked to this guy called the Butcher, who hurts ladies, because her dad gambled her away. Like, that's a normal thing. I don't know. Books are weird. But yeah, they had a like kind of cute relationship, and they had some sexy times, and it was alright. I surprised myself by how much I enjoyed it. Like, these sort of books do not usually get 3 stars for me. Hey, Coops! Hey! I got distracted by my cat again. Anyway, moving on to the next book, I'm going to talk about The Last Sun by Katie Edwards. I read this as a buddy read with Kayla from Crack Into a Good Book, and it was so good. I loved it so much. This is an urban fantasy that is based on tarot cards and Atlanteans being in our world. So it has like a sort of modern day fantasy kind of world going on with people with powers and creatures of all types, as even fae, and yeah, it's just really, really cool. The banter in this book, if you wanted some pure banter, then this is where you need to come. Because Rune and Brand are just, they're so good. The banter, I love them. Also, there's an MM romance in this, which I kind of adore. I kind of think it's just really cute, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where the sequel to this one goes. There are some mysteries in this one that are set up, and I need to know what happens. I have already got the little novella that's 1.5, and I've already bought the second book because I really, really need to know what happens. Also, there is a trigger warning for rape that does get brought up occasionally in this book because it is one of the main characters' backstories, and it's featured quite prominently, just obviously in his story, and how he reacts to certain things it is because of that situation. Then I picked up volume 13 of One Punch Man by Yusuke Murata and One, and yeah, I really like this one. This was a really good volume, and I feel like there are finally some reasons for the things that are happening and have been happening for the past few books. It makes the one that I didn't like make a little bit more sense, and I kind of like that. I could see some shit going down in the next couple, so I'm excited to see where that goes. And the last book that I read this month was Seventh Heaven by James Patterson and Maxine Petro. This is the 7th book in the Women's Murder Club series, and I kind of enjoyed it. It was okay, actually. I tend to find this series is kind of like a guilty pleasure. It's not like that enriching for your mind. It's just one of those ones that you sit down, you read, you enjoy it, and then you probably forget what happens about 10 minutes after you read it. I actually feel like this is one of the more successful books that I read in this series. There are always multiple stories happening in these books because there are so many characters to follow, and I found that actually there were 3 storylines in this one, and I was intrigued by all of them. They were very well intertwined with each other, and yeah, I just liked what happened. I thought the main character was a little bit weird with her relationship, but apart from that, yeah, it was good. I enjoyed this one. This one was about a missing child prodigy and some arsonists, and I just enjoyed it. It was my attempt of getting myself out of a reading slump. Didn't really work, but I mean, when you look at this, right? Tiny pages, big font, lots of small chapters. I thought, you know, this is going to make me feel accomplished, and it did. So at least it did that. So there we have it. Those are the books that I read in June. It was considerably fewer than I read in May, and I definitely suffered from a slump, and that is just how I am right now. I feel like a lot of people have had kind of a slumpy June, and moving into July still quite slumpy. It's just a thing that seems to be happening right now, and that's where I am. So again, apologies if my upload schedule is a little bit iffy throughout the next couple weeks. I am really trying to get myself back to where I need to be in terms of posting, so please bear with me. If you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!